This is Greg Graham's. This is his house. He has lived here his whole life, way over 60 years. His house has lots of rooms, filled with all kinds of collectibles. He likes to find the best of whatever he is collecting. Hoarder? Collector? You be the judge. There are a lot of houses on TV, but none quite like this. His sons Jay and Brian grew up here, and now work with him. Welcome to the Graham's house. Volo, House of Cars. It's 8 a.m. in Volo, Illinois, and Brian Grams has been up doing chores around the museum for hours. Of course, with a father like Greg, cleaning and polishing is nothing new.
My dad believes in child labor. My brother and I, we got a lot of experience in our youth. We'd be polishing brass on the old Model Ts and the early teen cars. They had the brass headlights, they're covered in brass, and we had to keep it clean.
Brian is trying to earn brownie points. Greg has been working on an expensive restoration and put a short hold on buying cars. But Brian has a listening problem, and he hopes that fixing the signs on his father's caboose will be enough to save his own.
My dad said, don't buy anything, especially any asset cars for the museum. And I got a call from Universal Studios, and they had the car from the Cat in the Hat. I was sweating it out. He was out of town. I told my mom. My mom basically plugged her ears. She didn't want to hear anything about it. It's an amazing car, an amazing piece of artwork. I couldn't say no.
Brian hopes that the chores and rarity of the movie car will lessen the blow when he comes clean to Dad.
The only thing that I got going for me is my dad's like me and he's for the museum, so I got a little extra leverage.
His time is up. Brian heads to the war room to break the news to his father and Jay. While Brian's been working, Jay and Greg have been waiting.
So I don't know if you noticed, Dad, but Brian is late.
Yeah, he's not usually late.
He's late all the time.
What's with this?
When you're not here, he's late. He takes long lunch breaks. He leaves early.
Oh, Jesus. Brian, what's with the silly hat?
You like it?
Look like it.
It's my new driving hat. Might be a little catty, but I think it fits me.
First things first, why are you late?
Oh, I was changing the signs on the caboose.
I told you much earlier about those signs that you put them on backwards.
Well, it took me a while. I couldn't find the screw gun.
Okay, so you fixed that and that's why you're late?
Yep, that's where I was.
All is forgiven. What's with the silly hat?
You remember when I was trying to call you the other day and you said, hey, I'll call you right back, and you never did?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, it cost you a lot of money. I had a lead on a car and I couldn't get a hold of you, so I bought it.
What's that?
Bought it.
A model car you bought?
This is what I bought.
That's the Cat in the Hat car.
Yep.
So you bought this toy.
I bought the toy, but I also bought the original car from the movie, the only one ever built. My buddy over at the movie car warehouse called me up. They needed to make some room. They're ready to let the car go. This is somebody that I've got a long relationship with. We buy a lot of TV and movie cars from them. I bought it for a fraction of what they invested into building it, which is still a lot of money.
How much is a lot of money?
$1.4 million.
1.4 million to build it.
To build it, which is still a ridiculous amount of money because it was only on screen for less than a minute.
I remember your grades you used to get in math, so this fraction thing still worries me. Are we talking 3/4, 1/2?
I think you'd be better off seeing this one on the statement when it comes back from the bank.
I like it because it's a little more current for the kids. They're not going to remember some of this old stuff. Your kids are going to remember it, and your kids are going to remember
well,
this.
It's good for all ages.
Yeah.
And the hat's been around forever. That's for adults, that's for everybody, not just kids. I mean, it has to be a pretty popular car if they made a model off of it.
Where do you have to go? Local?
No, I got to go to Hollywood to get it.
You got to go to Hollywood.
Yeah, I already put a deal together with him. We got a verbal contract. He's letting me fly out there and look at it because I don't know if it's contact paper and tinfoil.
What condition
I don't know.
is it in?
Could be propane, could be electric. It might not even run.
Well, the most important thing, we collect one-offs. This is the only one in the world. It's got to be.
This car is something for all generations that come to the museum.
I gotta admit, I'm really excited to see the Cat in the Hat car. That thing looks like a really cool piece. Interesting to just look at.
Jay's excitement is about to take a turn.
Jay, I have a special assignment for you. I bought a 1949 Spartan house bus.
The Spartan Bus Company was in business for only 3 years. They made commercial buses to haul people. This is the only one they ever built that was a house bus. A house bus is a bus that was converted into what we would call an RV today. It would have a bathroom and a kitchen, and you could live in it and travel in it.
This is the first one ever ordered. It was ordered by some tycoon out of Texas. Spartan went out of business in '49, and they didn't quite finish the bus. But the engineer that designed this, he bought the bus and he finished it himself. He died in 1964. His wife, she wouldn't let anybody touch this vehicle. They parked it in 1964 in a building. The dirt is that thick on it. It was like in a time capsule. After Mom died, the little boy that you'll see in the pictures over here, the son, well, I bought it from him. He's in his 70s. He's not after the bucks. He wants the bus to come to the Auto Museum over here as a permanent display in our new camper museum. I love this piece. I think people are gonna flip over it, and it's a great add-on to our camper museum.
Where am I heading to go get this thing? Florida?
It's not Florida,
California?
no.
Hawaii?
No. It's in beautiful Detroit. I don't think you're gonna be paying a lot of money, but you're the best negotiator, especially when it comes to something for the museum.
Yeah, you're just treating me nice because you want me to go to Detroit for you.
Yeah, but this is gonna be a neat trip. So you guys gotta go pack. You gotta get a flight out to Hollywood, and you gotta get your car gassed up. You're going to Detroit.
The boys are off to add a house bus and a Cat in the Hat car to the Volo Auto Museum. Brian has arrived in Los Angeles to meet with his friend Scott, a trusted Hollywood collector. He wants to inspect the Dr. Seuss car before it heads north to Illinois.
Hi, Brian. Glad you could make it.
Hey, Scott, how's it going?
Great.
Good.
How was your flight?
Oh, it was great. I got out of the cold weather, got to come here to sunny California, so I'm doing good.
We have a very special car here today from the hit movie starring Michael Myers, Cat in the Hat. Right away when the vehicle was offered, I thought of Brian.
When he told me it was the car from the Cat in the Hat play, it just blew my mind. I tried calling my dad, but he told me he'd call me right back, and he never did. So I just pulled the trigger and bought it. It was a lot of money, but it's better to ask for forgiveness than permission sometimes.
Here's what you came for.
Wow, that looks incredible.
It is. It truly is.
You know, Scott has never let me down. When he's got something good, he always calls me and gives me the first shot of it. So I know this is gonna be a home run. Wow, this is real wood.
It is. African mahogany.
Well, you think something like this, they would just use some contact paper from Menards or something. My goodness, these pipes alone, the craftsmanship, the detail. This dash is amazing. Stuff you wouldn't even see, like the cat's hat on the horn button. Well, you know, they had to build the molds to make one piece.
Well, it appears that the vehicle is created out of aircraft aluminum. It's really fiberglass, and it's truly a work of art.
You didn't oversell me on this car at all. If anything, boy, you've undersold me.
Brian, we've done a lot of business historically. I know what you like.
Absolutely. Now, in the movie, it shot flames out the back.
Yes.
Does it really shoot flames, or is that CGI, or?
It does shoot flames.
Really?
It's propane injection.
Great. I'll have to have my brother stand behind that and not tell him what's coming.
At a build cost of $1.4 million, this vehicle was only in the movie for about a minute.
I know the car cost $1.4 million to build, but I bought it for a fraction of that. If they want to know what fraction it is, they're going to have to wait for the bank statement to come in. Does this actually run and drive?
It does run and drive.
Propane, gas?
It's electric.
Electric, oh.
Environmentally friendly.
Well, I don't have to worry about getting carjacked at a gas station in this
No.
car then.
Now, the vehicle is operated from the seat in the back.
The driver sits back here. How does he see where he's driving?
There's actually a camera, and he watches on a monitor.
Wow.
The way the vehicle is driven is actually very interesting. The driver or pilot of the vehicle actually sits behind and underneath the actual seat of the car while the actor pretends that he drives. So Brian, being that the car is everything that I did represent, I believe that it's going to be a slam dunk for your museum.
Oh yeah, this is gonna be a slam dunk for sure. I know my dad's gonna love it, and Jay might even love it too. You know, he might forgive me for sending him out to Detroit. Let's get this done and let's go to the beach.
Let's hit the beach. As a movie car guy that I am, I've never seen anything built like this before, and I doubt it will ever be recreated. I believe that the Volo Museum would be the best home for this car.
My gut tells me that this is gonna fit right into the museum, and I got a big gut. When it comes to the one-of-one, especially the movie cars, my dad's usually on board with it. And this thing is just so unique, I know he's gonna love it.
Greg Grams has spent his whole life becoming a master collector. And while half of collecting is in the finding, the other half is in the keeping.
We've been here for 56 years. Now, I have stuff in here that people offer me, whatever it is, Greg, I'll pay it. I want that vehicle or I want that motorcycle. There's things that have no price because what can you do with money if you can't replace that historic piece that's the only one in the world?
Among Greg's most prized and valued collections are his Duesenberg 2s, perfect sequels to the 1930s originals.
My father's been collecting the Duesenberg 2s. They were built in the 1980s to the same quality as the original Duesenberg. The phrase, "it's a doozy," comes from the Duesenberg because the Duesenberg was the best of the best. We have 15 out of the 64 that were originally made. They're outfitted with air conditioning, automatic transmissions. They have a value of $300,000-$400,000, and they look just like the original Duesenbergs, but you can get in it and go for a drive.
The Duesenberg 2 is an instantly striking vehicle. Greg has had plenty of offers, but no bills of sale.
I've heard it before that my dad said that he would sell one of his Duesenbergs, but I got a better chance of growing hair than ever selling one of those Duesenbergs.
At some point, most things are for sale. Try buying one of my father's Duesenbergs, and it's not going to happen at any price.
It's came up a couple of times where we were light on cash and we found some great artifacts, and because we have such a large collection of Duesenbergs, we often talked about, all right, to get this, I'll sell a Duesenberg. And then I end up paying for it and I end up never selling a Duesenberg. So no, I've never sold one yet. If I sold one, all I'd want to do is replace it. There's things money can't buy.
The Duesenberg 2s are right at home in Greg's house of cars. The Volo Auto Museum is in a constant state of change, so it's no surprise for the boys when new structures and displays crop up seemingly overnight.
My father's all about the presentation. He'll build entire buildings to house his latest collections, and then he'll change it 6 months or a year later to display it even better than what he had first done.
The new roof is for Greg's incoming Spartan house bus, a main event feature for his newest display.
The evolution of travel is our newest display at the Volo Museum, starting from the old chuck wagons going on up into the campers of the 50s. He's going after the best of the best and the rarest of the rare.
While RVs appeared in the US and Canada as early as 1910, it wasn't until after World War II that companies such as Ford, Winnebago, and Airstream began mass-producing RVs featuring interior comforts of the modern home and which returning soldiers and their families could afford. Today, there are more RVs on the road than ever before, with over 9 million families owning one. Greg has locked in on one of the first full-featured recreational vehicles ever built, a 1949 Spartan house bus. The search for this vehicle has brought Jay all the way to rainy Detroit, Michigan. And though Jay loves hunting barns for classic cars, he's not too happy with this mission's location.
Jeez. Oh, it's miserable. Brother's in Hollywood and I get stuck in Detroit. I'm in Detroit, it's cold, it's wet, it's not good. I'm not happy. My dad did a deal on a 1949 Spartan bus. I guess I'm just here to make the transaction. I don't know anything about buses.
Hi, Jay.
Oh,
My name's
hi.
Don. How
Hi.
you doing?
Good.
Welcome to Detroit.
Oh, thank you.
Come on in.
Man, it's freezing out there today.
Okay, Jay, it's a 1949 Spartan house bus. It's in pretty good shape. 1964. It's been sitting here. As you can see, it's got all the, bells and whistles, tinted glass. The color scheme is great, white, blue. It's a beauty. It's a real beauty. If you'll notice this plaque here, it's Family Motor Coach Association. Back when this was put on, they had 856 members. Now they're up to over 3 million members.
My dad will find that interesting.
And the aerodynamics of this thing is amazing. And look at the arrows on the turn signals, both front and back.
Yeah.
That's a pretty neat feature. 2-speed windshield washer wipers.
That bumper off of a Buick?
It looks like it could be, but it is custom made. Nothing's been added since 1949. The drapes and everything are original equipment. And it's been sitting next to the house or next to the garage since 1964. It hasn't even been run.
It's going to sit in our museum now.
They'll love to see this and walk through it.
Yeah, they will. But I have to pay for it so we can get it home.
The bus has been my family since 1949. My folks traveled all through the Midwest with it, and we enjoyed it. We enjoyed it a lot. The bus has not been changed on the inside or the outside since 1949, really. I think a museum would be a great spot for this. My mother passed. I made the decision it's time to get rid of it.
Needs a little cleaning up.
Sure, yeah. It runs real well.
Well, it's going to get towed home.
You know, you could drive it back.
No.
No, you don't think so?
No, I'm going to give you a check and hop in my truck and...
Tires are in great shape. All the windows open with the screens. Bathroom works. You want to take a look at the inside? Come on,
well,
you can go.
I guess we can sit at the table and write you that check.
Although Jay isn't loving the weather or this weathered bus, he can't help but be impressed with the interior, which is truly a trip back in time.
When Don opened the door, it was like going back to 1964. I wasn't born yet, but it was original. It was like a time capsule, untouched. It still had the curtains and the dishes, and we're gonna show it at Volo untouched, just like that, matching the pictures from 1964. Actually, Don's in the picture as a little boy.
Well, if you want to come over to the house and we'll sit down and talk and go from there.
So we're ready to do the deal?
Ready to do it.
All right,
How's
sounds
that
good.
sound?
All right,
Come on. Jay was very anxious to make the deal. Whether he wanted to get back home real quick to see his family or just get out of here. Didn't like the weather in Detroit, I don't know, but the deal was made. In a way, I'm sad to see it go, but it's going to a good home, and Volo Museum in Volo, Illinois is well known in the Midwest. And speaking to him over the phone, Greg is a very nice gentleman. I'm sure they will take good care of it.
It's not long before the 1949 Spartan house bus arrived safely on the Volo Auto Museum lot.
It was a successful trip in Detroit. My dad's gonna be happy. This house bus is an artifact that'll be great in the museum. It just doesn't excite me as much as it does my dad and my brother, but people will enjoy seeing it.
Although Jay didn't love the weather in Detroit, he's always glad to bring home a win for the team. The boys are back in Illinois, and they want a look at Dad's latest creation, the evolution of travel. As the journey begins in the 1840s, Jay is impressed by the thoroughness of his father.
Dad did a really neat job to detail all these original pieces, too.
I could have cared less about this covered wagon when he brought it in, but now seeing it with all the accessories on there, it's really neat. He's even got, like the fake fire and stuff like that. You'd look at it with these wooden spokes and these metal bands, you wouldn't think about getting a flat, but you'd actually get flats with these things. Your wood would shrink and the metal band would fall off. So they would look for a creek, they'd put the metal band in it, put the wheel back in it, and let the wood soak up the water and expand.
If you really think about it, this is their home. They traveled cross country, they had their own bathtubs, they had to bring their own food.
They didn't ride in the covered wagons, they walked next to the covered wagons. If you were lucky, you got to sit up there. That would be for grandma, but if you're able, you're walking.
The next stop is 50 years in the future, the 1890s.
That's a stagecoach. You ever hear the expression, riding shotgun? The passenger would sit with a shotgun because a lot of times you're carrying gold and money, so the passenger rode shotgun in case they got robbed. Yeah, Dad's really got the details down pat in these displays.
I don't know about Willie Nelson and a open treasure chest full of gold, but other than that,
I think Willie Nelson is from that time.
hey, in the 1890s, your transportation had 2 horsepower.
Now we've got a Shelby Super Snake in the other building with 700 horsepower.
The last stop of the tour brings the boys to the first recreational vehicles.
This really turned out nice in here.
Yeah, I'll say.
These are gorgeous. You see the detail in there? Man, I thought he was back here just napping in these campers.
This one's cool. This is a master built. These were originally made out of masonite, and they got a wood frame underneath, so they just fall apart. They get deteriorated and destroyed.
This is gorgeous. It's like Art Deco. 5-star hotel isn't that nice inside.
Wow, now look at this.
This is his covered wagons he keeps talking about.
Looking at this, I mean, you got copper screens, porcelain sink. I mean, look at the hardware on all the cabinets and that. I mean, it's absolutely gorgeous. Do you know how rich you had to be to own one of these? I mean, this is the 1930s. This was the Great Depression.
I'm blown away. This is worth the price of admission just to see this room.
The boys leave inspired to continue the legacy their father has worked so hard to create. The museum tour is over, and it's time for the brothers to give their weekly reports to Dad. They've been told to meet him by the new house bus, but there's one little problem.
Brian, Where's the house bus? It was parked here.
Where's Dad, too? He's supposed to be here for the weekly recap.
Don't shoot the messenger, but Grandpa took your house bus and said he was going on vacation.
What?
Vacation?
He said do your weekly wrap-up without him, and he took the bus.
Have you checked in the checkbook? Is there something missing? He was talking at dinner the one night that he wants to open up a boat collection because that's something we don't have.
That makes complete sense, because to Dad, that is a
That
vacation.
would be his vacation.
Boats.
With Greg absent for today's meeting, Brian does his best to embody his father's spirit.
Well, boys, did you make any money?
No, actually we didn't. Good thing he's not here.
We didn't make any money. We spent a lot of money, but we got some really cool stuff. Got the Cat in the Hat car. I flew out to California. Wait till you see this car. It's amazing. They said they spent $1.4 million building it. I believe it now after seeing the detail. I mean, this thing is just a work of art.
Yeah, it sounds cool.
It's gonna look great in the museum with all the other kids' cars with the Scooby van and that. It's gonna fit in there fantastic.
You don't have to be a kid to enjoy it. I can't wait to see it.
No, it's for everybody. It's such a work of art. You don't know if it's an airplane, if it's a boat or a car, because it looks like all three of them put together. I can't wait to see your bus.
Yeah, I had to go to Detroit and do your job. You're in California. I got to go in the cold, nasty rain was
hear
blowing
Detroit's
sideways.
nice this time of year.
Oh my God, it was miserable. And let me tell you, Don was a nice guy. He had sentimental attachment to that bus because it's been in the family since new. It hasn't changed inside. Same curtains, same dishes. It was cool. Just like he said, it was a time capsule.
Well, you know, normally Dad ends these meetings.
Yeah, it's kind of weird without him.
How do we end it?
We go have a beer and figure it out.
It works for me.
The boys have made their father proud. The Cat in the Hat car is right at home in the Movie Car Museum. And the 1949 Spartan house bus completes Greg's evolution of travel display for now.
Whether we win or lose, it's another good week for the house. Volo House of Cars.